how are the people in Guatemala learning these different ideas? Or how are you teaching them, I guess?
¿Cómo enseñan estas ideas a las personas de Guatemala, los jóvenes, los padres? ¿Cuáles son los métodos que usan para enseñar?
Nosotros, ¿cuál es la metodología? Podría decirte que es una metodología inclusiva.
It's an inclusive practice?
Method.
Method?
Sí, nosotros lo que hacemos primero es hacer actividades para que los jóvenes sepan que ellos existen, que ellos tienen un derecho a opinar, por lo menos inicialmente en su propia vida.
So we start with activities that help the youth understand their worth in choices' eyes as well as their own.
Enseñarles que ellos tienen derechos, pero también tienen obligaciones.
That they have rights, but they also have responsibilities.
Enseñarles que también deben de tener compasión por las demás personas.
And show that they need to have compassion for other people.
No necesariamente compasión significa, ay, pobrecita, te voy a dar un dinero, ¿no?
And not necessarily like, I'm gonna give you money because you're sad.
Eso es algo que viene de muy adentro, ¿no? Es algo que nosotros tenemos que experimentar en sentir para poder hacer cosas por las demás personas.
It's more a feeling inside that we need to help other people.
Les das oportunidad de participar, de tomar decisiones.
And it gives them the opportunity to participate and to make decisions.
Y se hace a través de esta forma. Preguntarles, juntarlos, desarrollar liderazgo, preguntarles cuál
¿Qué
es tu
opina?
plan de vida
¿Qué
y
opinan?
qué es eso. Entonces venimos desde el inicio, ¿qué es un plan de vida? ¿Qué soñas? ¿Qué quieres? Eso.
Se capacitan, se les da muchísima información en capacitación, qué es liderazgo, cómo funciona, que puede haber liderazgo negativo, liderazgo positivo, cómo usarlo en tu vida. Es como un pensum de estudio, donde tú recibes mucha formación.
So very similar to what we did here, asking everyone in the room what their life plan was, explaining what that is about leadership, how it can be positive and negative, and
Sí, más o menos.
Let me jump in here and talk a little bit. So they have a lot of different ways of teaching. And sometimes when we think of teaching, we think, oh, well, you gotta go to a school classroom to learn. But one of the biggest lessons that I learned in working development is how much I was taught outside of school. And my father, when I left to college, he told me something. He said, don't let studying get in the way of your education. So how do they teach there? Well, one of the big ways they teach is just by example. People see how those two interact with each other and notice that he treats her with respect as opposed to treating her like an object. Okay. Another way is there's a radio program that actually teaches classes over the radio. So you tune your radio in to the class and then you listen to that, and then on one day a week you go to the community center or our school CKV, and then you can take the quiz to see if you learned stuff. And then after you've done that first semester, then you can get the certificate for that class. That center that was built by students. The first class was a construction class, and their class was building the center. So there's a lot of different ways that they teach classes. Some of them are formal, sitting in class with the schedule. Others, when I was down there, the trash along the roads is just incredible. And we took a group of youth and said, hey, let's go pick up trash. And so we filled several garbage bags with trash, and then afterwards, while we were doing that, we had the cooks prepare some rice, and one of the girls showed up. She couldn't help us pick up garbage because she had to sell the little panes, little bread things, little pastries that her mom made. And I said, tell you what, you come with us and I'll buy them all. And so we ended up with like 26 kids, and we just went up and down the road, picked up garbage, and then we went back, and we sat down around a big table and had a formal meal, basically rice, and they each got a little piece of this pastry. I think I heard in English. And so, what lessons did they learn along that way? Well, they learned that, you know, it's not good to have garbage all on the street. They learned how to sit down as a group and eat, and then there were other lessons. So there's a lot of different ways that they teach.
If I may, just a thought on this for these guys to reflect back is, in the middle of last semester for our experiential Friday classes, we did a service learning project where we all walked down to the Daybreak, all the lakes down there, to collect garbage. And I mean, I know in my group we maybe filled up a tenth of the bottom of our bag. I mean, there was nothing there, right? And it's another one of these things that I think is easy for us to overlook. You know, he's telling us about the streets just being littered, and we couldn't even hardly find anything out there, right? Just think about the difference in our community, even in that regard.
Yeah, we probably didn't go half a mile, and I think there were like 8 garbage sacks, and the big ones full of garbage. And it wasn't big garbage, you know, it was little stuff, but just lots of it. But, you know, you think about the United States back in the 60s and 70s, you know, you went along the roads, there was a fair amount of garbage along the roads, you know, and you just threw it out the window. That's how you dealt with your trash. But there were campaigns to teach us, look, America's beautiful, let's not make it a garbage dump. And there's some very powerful ones that kind of help teach us, don't throw your trash out the window. And if there's trash, pick it up. And like I say, now you go along the streets, you know, there's not a lot of garbage around.
Mm-hmm.
So, what other questions you have?
And just I think about just how that impacts psychology, right? But we're talking about the personal value that the youth have in themselves, and it might not seem at first glance like a direct comparison to the, you know, the opportunities and the freedom that we have here, but just think about the world that you're living in and how you experience that world, and if there's just, you know, garbage everywhere, how that might lower your perception of your own value in that world. So
what is your interaction with choice like, or how do you interact with them?
Do you mean like between Guatemala and headquarters?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, lo que vamos a hacer, hay algunas preguntas que estamos contestando ahora, y luego ellos quieren hacer una presentación para nosotros, entonces. Pero esta pregunta es, ¿cómo conectan ustedes con la oficina central? ¿Qué interacción tienen ustedes con la oficina central?
Bueno, nosotros somos una sucursal de la oficina central en Guatemala. No somos una ONG independiente, sino que en Guatemala somos Choice Humanitarian.
So it's the same over in Guatemala, it's Choice Humanitarian, it's here, there's just a barrier.
Todos nuestros lineamientos de operación se trabajan desde aquí.
All of our main operations are here.
Claro que todo está preparado y adecuado a las condiciones y la cultura de la región donde nosotros trabajamos.
They just, yeah, so the offices are just an extension of our main work here, but they're adapted to and meant for the specific cultures that they're working in. So you'll note that they're obviously Guatemalan, and I am not. So I work up here and they work in a culture that they understand. Yeah. But I think in terms of communicating back and forth, Lonnie here is our field director, And he really is the line of communication between all of our field teams, like Northencia and like our other in-country directors, some of whom you met last week, to ensure that, you know, they're getting the projects done that we're planning on, making sure the operations are going smoothly in each of the countries. He does weekly Skype calls with the countries to check in with them to make sure they have all their needs met, that everything is going well. Lonnie also tries to get into the field quite often where possible. And anytime a staff member goes in country to, whether it's on an expedition or for training, you know, we make sure that we're all in alignment. Yeah.
Quiero comentarles además con respecto a la comunicación como oficina que nosotros no tenemos internet en el lugar donde está el centro de capacitación.
So they don't have internet in the Guatemalan office at all?
In the
Nosotros
office,
debemos,
yes, at the school, no.
Right,
School.
school, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
You don't.
nosotros
We have a big
debemos de,
setup down there.
debemos de viajar aproximadamente 2 horas para poder llegar a un pueblo pequeño donde hay señal de internet.
So from there, it's about 2 horas or
2 horas.
2 horas is about 2 hours from anywhere in a village where they can get service.
Yeah, because they live in a city called Coban, and our school, Sicabe, is the name of our trade school down there, where they're often doing most of their work. They're about 2 hours apart. So the internet's in Coban, and Sicabe doesn't have internet.
They have had internet at the school, it's just very expensive out there. So we actually have a meeting with gentlemen tomorrow night to see if we can't find out another way that we can use internet there.
How many languages do you speak?
Basically 2.
Okay.
I speak Spanish and English, of course, but I've taken French, German, Arabic. I can say hello and stuff in Swahili, Amara, Oromo, Malawi, Malian,
You speak some Kutch.
a little bit of Quechua and some Imara also.
So you have a big basic understanding of all the languages.
So, well, 2 languages
Well,
basically.
You can say that.
I can understand French and German a little bit with the class I took. My Arabic, it's been too long and I don't have opportunities to use it, so.
Are you guys taking language classes?
we have
Chinese at our school.
Very cool.
That's
very
awesome.
That's
That's a
valuable.
great, is it Mandarin or Cantonese?
Mandarin.
Yeah, it's a great thing to have.
Taoshir's Hunhao.
Over my head.
Yeah.